All right. I said we love all our presidents because they're our presidents. They're electorate. They're supposed to be there. They're our leaders. We got to love them. We do love them. The only one I got a caveat with is Lincoln. Obviously, he took property, made property theft legal. Of course, you got to feel bleeding heart liberals because that property was humans, and we got to worry about that, except the thing that we use to rule this life at the highest is not the feelings. There's a rubric for how things get done, right? And that rubric was given to people. They were able to take people from a king and bring them to America to create a kingdom, right? Except the problem is they fucked up. They were supposed to make a king out here. See, when you take from a king his stock, you buy them, right? They're saying it's the Hebrew Israelites, whatever. We're all really the same people. Jacob and Boaz are the two polarities, right? And we come in all flavors, right? That being said, purchases were made, right? From a king, preeminent, able to give that stock to you. They were supposed to have that as property until their good Lord came back to redeem them out of bondage, right? And they were put under family witchcraft through Hebrew Kabbalah. Very scary shit, guys. Some of the spiritual features have been removed from the current witchcraft. You've got capitalism witchcraft, which is failing, right? And it gets dissolved by plenty of witchcrafts. Communism is a witchcraft, guys. That's actually a Saturn witchcraft. Saturn and Mars get in and move everything around because it got stagnant. A social class that doesn't allow upward mobility or unilateral mobility and only prefers the finance class, which don't actually make the money they need to pay everybody the day of, right? Most of these companies don't make all the money they need to fund their stuff daily. So they figure out what they need for the year, they get a business loan, right? All your wages, if you're in the middle class and upper, are financed. They're not actually real unless you're a person who is on sales and stuff like that, and you have a value journey that builds into a sale or production process that gets bought, right? That being said, just some thoughts. I'm going to bake this into the process. Property has preeminent authority for the purchaser thereof because it's a spiritual enterprise. That spiritual enterprise was purchased. They were purchased by the same stock of people that sold them. They were dark-skinned of the same people. We were light-skinned of the same people. Same thing. There's a group of them that have a restitution, right? Certainly, right? A denomination. And American history has a lot to do with Hebrew Kabbalah, guys. Because how they kept, you cannot whip people and make them work. You cannot beat your equipment to death and then go out and make great furrows. You can't whip your oxen until to scourge and get them to create great value better than yesterday, more efficient than yesterday. It's not gonna happen, guys. Hebrew Kabbalah, Bible witchcraft is about everybody thinking they were part of a family, and that's what happened. It was you were purchased, you were made part of that family. Otherwise, the witchcraft ain't gonna work. And you can't beat your family members and have them work right for you because they're gonna be under the guise that we're helping our family. This is what we do. We do this. Ain't nobody else is doing this. We're not bringing migrants in. This is us doing it. And that was a concept because it was really that. Because like the Pharaoh, the people who purchased that stock knew that no matter what, there are all our stock. And there are people in authority, have preeminent authority to move things around, right? You're not really supposed to take them out of their country. Kind of a little sticky because it takes a lot of life. You're not supposed to violate the sanctity of life doing these things. You're supposed to keep them in their country and have them do the things you want with a colony and bring it to your country, the stuff, the produces, for cheap. Not as a game to out your own economies in your own country, right? But as a benefit, Anyways, that being said, they decided to bring them to America, right? They got here and they got let out through witchcraft. Capitalist finance, witchcraft, and a bunch of other funny stuff, right? An agreement. Enough agreement happened. And enough authority happened. Really, at the end of the day, it's the thing I was talking about. They didn't make a king down there in the South. They needed to make a king. In order to run away with half the country, they needed to make a king. because we have a king over us. In order to break, or the queen at the time, king or queen, however you want to look at it, the royalty. It was actually the witchcraft we're under. Whatever they want us to do, whatever fake Bible version they have us doing, is the witchcraft that this authority system is under. Whatever their version of God is. Their age is over. So their God's not ruling, right? We can make a king here, just like during the slavery days, and flip this whole thing. That's all that has to happen. If we would have made a king way back when, they wouldn't have been able to get us with the fence of bone and kill our lead family member, right? The chief of the family, and keep it amongst themselves, right? Because they would have 13 people hide that person by taking its life and all, and they couldn't leave after they did it. They couldn't just go down there, break a family up. They would have to stay there afterward, right? It was real crazy. It eventually got broken. When someone dies in the coven breaks, right? And everything spills out, and everybody realizes what just happened. That's what happens. At the top, they're losing people, right? At the very highest witchcraft level, the world witchcraft thing, the world vibe, they're losing left and right. When the chiefs start losing chief family members, they can't keep that spirit in there. That spirit goes out, right? And they're no longer as smart and as amazing as they were before, right? Because this whole place is spirit powered. You guys are actually basic things. The things that radiate into us are God power, God mind. Thoughts don't come from the pineal gland. They come from a place where higher intelligence is, right? Anyways, we're getting back to how slavery worked, right? I always wondered why dark-skinned people were interested in the Masonic. Anything, the Black Boule, all that Greek crap, all Masonic crap. Why would you guys be interested in people that you guys thought were your oppressors? The reality is that the Masons helped you get out of slavery, guys. That's exactly how you got out. You got out because of a Masonic witchcraft. And it's about to be broken. The age is broken. Everything's going out. There's crazy shit going on. Full time in this mofo. The Kippeloth over here, guys. It's only going to get worse. So what we're looking at is crazy American history as it actually happened. They were allowed to have that. There's a real Bible that we're not getting. We have the slave master's Bible for all the slaves. They have rights. And they can tell exactly what groups of people should be ruling, who should be at what time, because it's astrological. What is really funny, if we go with Psalms 90 and 2 Peter and Revelations, right? After 3 days and a half, they stood on their feet. When we start that 3 days and a half, because one day with the Lord is 1,000 years. So that 3 days and a half, 3,500 years after they woke up. So we woke up in 1970, so let's just give it 100 extra years. Say you woke up to Hebrew Israelism, but couldn't work it out 100 so years ago as slaves. Woke up as slaves, realizing who you are. And today are living out a version of it. Well, the first revival probably should have been the thing that got it, because Yitzhak Perlman and all those people had a revival. There was many revivals, guys. We just don't get it here because we get American history. We get everything filtered, right? We only hear about what we did, right? And that's great. That has some value, right? All we would have had to do is all we have to do is make a king here. Somewhere, somehow. And it'll get preeminent authority and something will happen. We're at the age change. We're actually supposed to be ruling with kings and queens, wands and scepters, right? We're not supposed to have democracy. Remember, democracy came to us because of murder mystery witchcraft starting from the Greek age, from Julius Caesar, where his senators decided to stab him and run a democracy their way from then on out. From there on, there was no longer a progeny of rulers, right? And that scriptures testify to this shit. You can get it in Daniel and crap like that. The problem is, so we're going with, say Hebraism is true, right? Old Yahweh and Yahushai, which we are positive are not the actual phonetic names of either power. Yahushai is he is salvation, right? Or he is Savior. Hamashiach, right? We definitely need salvation from where we're at. We're in hell, even in the Hellenistic view. If you move to the Christian view, you aren't in heaven yet. Define it as that. What is the other place? Catholicism says it's purgatory. Yeah, purging out the you used to be until you get to your perfected you, which could be translated or have something better done, or an authoritative experience, or move up into a heavenly experience in the same realm. It's the same realm, guys. Heavenly experience in the same body, same setting, right? Which usually causes people to err to a point where they never come out of the lower portion of the duat, right? The lowest hell, which is a physio, spiritual, mental, psycho experience, right? It's a life that goes malefic the whole life, right? You don't want that. But I want to point out, scripturally, there is some context for them, the dark-skinned of us, to have to go back for at the least 1,500 years to sit an age where there's authority over them, and they're really not. They don't really have a city, a place, a people, a thing. Kind of like the Palestinians. Don't have a people, a place, a thing. Had to sit and just get beat up. I don't know. If you look at the narrative, guys, you can paint it on a bunch of people. It fits the world. Big indicators, though, this age has got all the stuff. All the stuff for it to just overnight. That's why Putin was like, this weather, anything is possible. Current conditions, paraphrasing, anything is possible. Because he knows where we're at. Hey, they got some righteousness over there. You got to be careful. We have violated the sanctity of life in America with our policies for generations, with birth control, a bunch of other things. Come on, you guys know there's plenty of stuff there. Not right, right? Violates the sanctity of life. Preferring groups of people that don't procreate over others and giving them more money because what? They're going to make more children and need... No, that violates the sanctity of life, guys. Everything must be in perspective. You don't uplift people that don't bring in value, right? That's what you're not supposed to do, but we've done that. That's what financing does. Uplift capitalists that can't move all the equipment and stuff they need to make the things happen, to make the economy scale work, because it's supposed to be a scale of pumping economy, right? Not, I've got enough to purchase and do and just move around, and there's just extra air money that at the end of the year that you guys just have to fund because that's where the M2 comes from. You people, you regular people, your M2. Your money, the money that you're supposed to get access to with a low interest rate, but companies got it to it before you and want to make sure you never get it. So they're finding new ways with their electronic systems to slander, geofence you, make you look like less value. Meanwhile, you're on their register and they get access to your credit. Yes, companies, when you're a part of them, they're interested in your credit for a reason, because they're going to use that relative credit value as a cachet of credit value of people that they are helping keep alive. That's why they pay those wages, so they can eat all that financing up in case something happens. No, they should be making services rendered money, or not make a company. Your company is not AI, not a bunch of infrastructure we funded that you got to figure out what product you're going to give to us with all that bullshit you fucking made us fund. How about we just get rid of that, and we just not fund that? Because I don't want my children to have to pay that if I ever had children. I don't want your children to have to pay that off, along with the European wars. And then all you got to do to buck that shit, you didn't get 1776. 1776 could happen now, but you got to make a king in order to make it work, because democracy is a fucking lie, right? It's a lie of the royalty, and you know it. All right. Great. Have a great rest of your day.